Let's do another one. It looks like you're writing a letter. Would you like some help?
That was the real Graham Cluley.
Sorry, that was the AI.
Wow.
The AI fix a digital zoo. Smart machines, what will they do? Flies to Mars or bake a bad cake? World domination, a silly mistake. Bots with brains and wires.
Hello and welcome to episode 46 of the AI Fix, your weekly dive headfirst into the bizarre and sometimes mind-boggling world of artificial intelligence. My name's Mark Stockley.
And I'm Graham Cluley. Now, Mark, I've heard that we've received some more feedback.
That's right, listener Matt Vasquez noticed that we talk about robot dogs a lot.
Really?
And he thought we should know about Luna Petbot, which is a robot dog pet or a robot pet dog.
Oh.
Anyway, it's from a company called Key Eye Robot, and they've clearly decided that they wanted to create a robot dog that is cute and likable rather than utterly terrifying. Crazy, I know.
Right.
And they've done that, Graham, by giving it a head. Take a look.
Is giving a robot dog a head going to be enough?
This is Luna. She's gonna be your new best friend.
Oh my God. Oh, this is awful, Mark.
I quite like this. What's your problem?
This is a robot that's trying to be so cute,
It is trying very hard to be cute, isn't
but
it?
in that way that's immensely nauseating to adults. I mean, anyone would take a shotgun to this within seconds, surely.
There's no pleasing some people.
So it's a small little thing with little ears which can pop up and down. It's going, hey, look at me, look at me. Oh, frankly, I want to give it a bath. I think that's what I'll do with this dog. Oh dear. It is revoltingly cute yes, it is to the point of nausea. I'm not impressed.
Well, I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Really?
I'd much rather this than some weird headless four-kneed thing with LiDAR.
Well, that isn't the choice, Mark. It's not a choice between this cute robot and some evil robot. How about no robot in your arm? How about no pet dog? At least of a robotic kind.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, was feedback. Graham, what are you talking about in today's episode?
I'm going to be judging AI.
Oh, same as normal then. I'm going to be telling you about an AI that can read your mind.
But first, the news. Robots have learnt to hop to a height of 20 centimetres.
Google announces A2A, the agent-to-agent protocol.
Donald Trump's education secretary has started talking about A1.
China mocks Trump's tariffs with AI video of US sweatshop workers.
AI murder predictor catches killers before they strike.
EU to build AI gigafactories in €20 billion push to catch up with US and China.
What's all this about AI gigafactories, Mark?
So the EU has just revealed details of a €20 billion plan to create up to 5 new sites equipped with vast AI gigafactories. So those are data centers equipped with 100,000 AI chips, which is a lot.
Yes.
The data centers are apparently for ambitious moonshot projects that are going to help the EU catch up with the USA and China. And anyone living in Europe like us will know that the EU has well and truly woken up in the last few months, for obvious reasons.
Some people say it's too woke, actually, don't they?
As a European, I think this is great. I'm very happy to see this. But it still looks a bit European to me. I mean, this is supposed to help us catch up. And €20 billion is objectively a lot of money, but it's very hard to see how a €20 billion investment is going to help Europe catch up with a country that's got a huge lead already and has just announced a $500 billion data center with Project Stargate.
Ah, yes. Maybe we'll just be more efficient.
Again, we are talking about the EU here. I feel like that's probably not a thing we're going to be able to lean on.
You're quite possibly right about that one. Now, scientists at MIT are bored of normal, dull robots that dance or fly or fold your T-shirt or nut you in the head. They've invented instead what I've decided to call a hopperbot.
It was good of them to let you name it.
Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah, that's normally what happens when these AI... If any other AI companies want me to name things, I'd very happily do so. For instance, that Luna pet dog. I've got a few names I could call that one. But the hopperbot is a flea-sized robot that looks like a grasshopper on a pogo stick, if you can imagine that.
I'm a bit confused by that. So you're saying somebody's invented a robot and it doesn't look like a dog or a person?
So what you've got is you've just got a spring underneath it. It weighs less than a paperclip, and using this spring, which I imagine it's come from an old Bic biro or something like that. It can leap 4 times its own height. It's on boing, 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 bouncing around like Zebedee.
Yeah, that 20-centimetre leap does seem a bit more impressive now I know that this thing is the size of a flea.
Yes, yes.
Really? That's a breakthrough? 20 centimetres?
Now, apparently, this is much more energy efficient than getting a robot to fly. Well, that makes sense.
How is this not getting a robot to fly?
Well, it's a bit like the early days of aviation, when planes were just sort of hopping rather than flying, I imagine. So,
Yeah, falling slowly.
yes, exactly. You're aiming for the ground and missing. That's the secret to flying, isn't it? But it means that this hopper bot can get across rough terrain, ice, wet surfaces. It can do acrobatic flips.
So like a flying robot.
It's like a flying robot, but only briefly like a flying robot.
But I mean, a flying robot can also get over those surfaces.
Mark, the point is that the flying robots require much more energy.
Yeah.
And it's going to be making more noise, and there'll be diesel fumes coming out of the back or something else like that, which is just going to make it obvious.
Yeah.
Whereas I suspect you wouldn't notice this thing going doink, doink. It could be like any of the other fleas going around your house. They even say that it could hop onto an airborne drone without damaging either itself or the drone, which might be helpful if they wish to collaborate.
Yeah.
I quite like this. I quite like this idea.
What's wrong with you today? What job is it going to sit there and its AI brain is going to go, do you know what? We need to outsource that to the utterly minuscule flea-sized thing that can jump 20 centimetres in the air.
Maybe it could be in charge of an army of these little fleas, which it sends off on little missions.
Yeah, little missions.
I can hear you're being a little bit cynical about this. The researchers, they're not cynical. They're optimistic. They say that one day they hope to get a version of this working with a battery on board. At the moment, it has a little wire attached to it.
So it's actually not the size of a flea
Makes
at all.
it a little bit pointless, doesn't it? Anyway, I think somehow quite impressive. And I'll link to the video if you want to check it out.
So Google has announced this new thing called A2A, the agent-to-agent protocol.
Yes.
Which is about getting agents to talk to each other. So agents are AIs that can carry out tasks for you.
Yeah.
They don't just make poems or create pictures of 6-fingered gloves. They can book holidays or buy your shopping, do things like that. Hack your computer. So agents are where it's at. That's where all the buzz is in AI at the moment. And everybody's rushing to create them. And that creates a problem, which we've talked about before.
Yes.
And not long ago, Anthropic created the Model Context Protocol, which is a way for agents to interact with things like computers and data stores. And now Google has created A2A, which is a way for agents to interact with each other. So this is essentially a set of rules that agents can follow that allow them to figure out what another agent can do, give it a task, communicate about it, and then track it to completion. And it opens the door for agents to actually collaborate with each other rather than just working alone. And I think this is very much the future of AI that people don't talk about, which is the idea that we're probably going to be dealing with groups of AIs and teams of AIs, ultimately entire organizations of AIs, which are all talking to each other. And you kind of give them a thing to do. And then this team of specialized agents goes off and figures out how to get it done between them. So let's say you've got a very large airborne robot drone.
Yes.
And it's got a little army of tiny hopping bots, and it needs to give them things to do, like pick up matches and jump over very small walls. And it wants to be able to tell them, and then it wants to know when they're done. So they might use something like A2A to do that.
Very, very neat indeed. Now, AI is touted as the future of learning, and the United States Department of Education is pushing hard for it in the classroom. Which makes a lot of sense, actually, doesn't it? Because real teachers, they're a bit too expensive, aren't they? I mean, already we're paying them far too much. That's what I keep on hearing from
from people who aren't teachers. Yeah,
far too much.
Yeah.
Much better to get our kids trained by a $5 ChatGPT subscription than to pay real humans. But if we're going to make America smarter again, we are going to have to be imaginative. And the person heading up that initiative is a woman called Linda McMahon. She has been appointed the Secretary of Education.
That name seems familiar.
Linda McMahon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, you may know her, actually, because she earned her place in charge of all of the United States education system by being a professional wrestling promoter. She was the CEO of WWF. You know, those men who jump around in Lycra and sort of growl at each other and slap each other unconvincingly. So, yeah, obvious choice.
Good for discipline, I suppose.
Yeah, I suppose so. Could be good.
Yeah.
And at a recent education summit organised by some Silicon Valley venture capitalists, she spoke about AI, or as she likes to call it, A1.
internet in our schools. Whoop. Now, okay, let's see A1 and how can that be helpful?
Now, I mean, I often mispronounce things on the podcast. I've been called out a number of times, actually, for making the occasional slight error. But not a great start, maybe.
Maybe she's trying to start something new.
Well, from what I've heard, A1 is apparently the name of a sauce which you can put on your steak in America. So maybe she was just getting a bit peckish towards lunchtime.
So sticking with the government, following the introduction of Donald Trump's eye-watering tariffs, China has responded forcefully with the Gen Z equivalent of a strongly worded letter to the UN, a social media video trolling America.
It's Gen Z, Mark. Sorry to point out your error in pronunciation. You are British.
It's pronounced A1. The video shows overweight and unhappy-looking Americans doing sweatshop labour while Chinese music plays in the background. Have you seen it?
I have seen it, yes.
I think it's brilliant, frankly.
Well, what's brilliant about it?
It's very clever. It's a very, very simple concept. And, do you think that these are the jobs that Americans want, really? That's what they're asking, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the really remarkable thing about the video, I think, and the reason that we're talking about it, is that it was made with AI. But nobody is talking about the fact that it was made with AI. And that seems really important because it means that we've now moved to a situation where AI is just a creative tool. So if you watch the video, there are a few obvious signs that it was made with AI. So there's a bit where somebody's soldering a component onto something that looks like an iPhone and their fingers are a bit sketchy.
Yeah, and none of these US workers have a hamburger in their hand either while they're doing this work.
But this video would have been completely impossible just a year or two ago. And now these tools are in the hands of creatives rather than in the hands of AI companies or computer programmers. And I think that's always the tipping point with this kind of thing.
You are absolutely right about this. I mean, normally someone would have had this idea and they thought, oh gosh, we've got to make this video quickly. We're going to have to get a location. We're going to have to hire some actors.
We're going to round up 100 overweight Americans in China.
We're going to have to get the camera crew. We're going to have to get the lighting people. We're going to have to get the permits. Even if you rush, it's still going to take a month to produce this thing, whereupon everyone's forgot. Well, frankly, the tariffs probably will have been all abolished by then anyway, and no one will care anymore. Now, in the UK, AI experts have been jolly hard at work, developing something which they've decided to call the Homicide Prediction Project.
I wonder what that is about.
Sounds a little bit ominous, doesn't it? What they're doing is they're collecting data from the police, government, old scripts of EastEnders, and they're using them to profile who is at risk, as they put it, of committing murder in the future. I would think actually the people who are at risk are the ones who have been being murdered rather than ones committing the murder. But yes, they are worried about people who are at risk of committing murder in the future. Yeah. So what they've done is they've taken world-class AI technology and they've combined it with a dartboard and a crystal ball. And they're what they're doing is they're getting this system to try to identify who the future killers are by looking at various metrics about people. There's a lot of information about people which can be collected, which can begin to tell you who the murderer might be. So, who owns a suspiciously clean shovel, for instance? Who looks a bit shifty?
Yeah, one of those furnace bins.
Right. Who's put duct tape in their Amazon cart recently?
Yeah.
All signs that you could be a killer. And this has got some people a little bit upset. Not just the creators of the movie Minority Report who feel that they've had their plot ripped off.
Yeah.
There's other people as well. So there's an organisation called State Watch, which basically looks for abuses by the state and says, do you think we should really be doing this? In fact, some people are so disturbed by this notion that it's been decided they're no longer going to call it the Homicide Prediction Project. It's now been renamed Sharing Data to Improve Risk Assessment.
That's clearly solved the problem, Graham. What's your issue?
It's a bit like how Windscale was renamed Sellafield after it had a nuclear accident.
Oh, yeah, after the fire and then all the leaking radiation, yeah.
Anyway, officials say it's totally not dystopian. Please stop looking at this. Please stop asking questions. Don't worry about it. Nothing to see here.
Do you know, the really worrying thing was when you were talking about the sort of profiling information they might be using, I was just thinking, why don't they just ask Google? I bet you Google already knows who the future murderers are.
You're probably right. Today, dear listener, we've got something special, something terrifying, something that will either entertain you or trigger a full-blown identity crisis in my co-host, Mr. Mark Stockley. Because it's time for our brand new quiz.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today as members of the AI Fix podcast congregation to play the ultimate game. Are you ready to play Cluley or Cloney?
That's right. Cluley or Cloney is the name of the game. Now, do you know how this game works, Mark?
Sorry, whose voice is that? Was that you doing your Alfred Hitchcock impression again?
I will play you a clip. It will either be me or it might be my AI double. So let's start things off really easily. Do you have a buzzer with you, Mark?
That was your AI double saying that. I'm sure it was.
Interesting. Interesting. Interesting.
Do you know how I know that?
How do you know that?
Do you remember many episodes ago, I created a clone of your voice on 11 Labs called Graham 3.0? And when you really...
Yes.
When you make a misstep on the podcast, sometimes I just get Graham 3.0 to fill in for you. I know there's a very small difference between its voice and your voice because I hear it so often. I reckon I'm going to be pretty good at this.
You think you're going to be good at this?
Yeah, I do.
You're absolutely right. So I have been using an AI voice already during this. Some bits have been me, some bits have been the AI. Now, do you have your buzzer?
Yes.
Good. So we are going to do a number of different rounds.
Right.
And you are going to try and work out if it's me or whether it's the AI. Simple as that.
Okay.
So round one is called No Joking Matter.
Round 1.
Now, Mark, you and regular listeners will remember that I have a favourite conceptual joke, a really groundbreaking joke.
I think we've all been trying very hard to forget that, Graham.
Well, I would like to see if you can get me to laugh by telling the joke. And then you have to work out if it's me who's laughing or the AI clone of me that's laughing. So if you could do the joke, I'm sure you remember the joke.
I'll do it from memory, Graham.
Okay. All right. When you're ready.
Okay. Graham, my dog's got no nose.
How does it spell?
Bloody fulwa.
Now, was that the AI or not?
Ooh. I feel like that was you pretending to be an AI.
Unfortunately, my real laugh sounds like this. There you go. That's my real laugh. The AI laugh. That's the best the AI can do.
I was crediting you with too much Machiavellian tendency there.
Doesn't matter. You got the wrong answer. All right, next round. So that's one round to me, or one round to the AI, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah.
Round 2.
So round 2, things computers say. I'm going to play you some famous phrases spoken by computers. Your challenge is to identify if it's been said by an AI or by me. Okay, is it an AI saying these things?
Yep.
Or is it me? Round 2, things computers say. You ready?
Yep.
Keyboard not responding. Press any key to continue.
That was the AI.
Well done. Let's do another one. It looks like you're writing a letter. Would you like some help?
That was the real Graham Cluley.
Sorry, that was the AI.
Wow. that did, yeah, as I say, like I listen to your voice more closely than I would like very often, and an AI generated version of your voice more closely than I like.
Let's listen to it again, because that was the AI. Let's listen.
Yeah.
It looks like you're writing a letter. Would you like some help? It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
That's really good.
All right, one more. It looks like you're taking a dump. Would you like some help with that?
That's the real Graham.
Correct. Right, you're doing really well.
Yep.
Okay, anyway.
That was... hang on.
Right.
Could you... Just one at a time, please.
Aha. Sorry, I'm getting carried away. Well done. Oh, no, that's my laugh. Oh. Okay, right, okay. Yeah. All right, okay. So I think overall you got 2 out of the 3 right that way.
Yeah.
So I'll give that round to you. All right, so we're 1 each right now.
Thank you.
Next round.
Round 3.
Round 3 of the game is called Bot Flicks or Chill. I'm going to play you a famous quote from the silver screen.
Right.
You have to identify the movie it comes from and then tell me which one is flesh and which one is firmware? All right?
Okay.
So I'm going to play you 2 versions of each quote. Don't answer until you've heard both. And then tell me if the first or the second one is the AI. All right? Or just say flesh or firmware.
Yeah.
All right? Okay. Here's the most famous one of all. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. All right, that's number 1. Or, I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Firmware, then flesh.
Very good. Very good. And what was the movie?
Oh, that was 2001: A Space Odyssey, of course.
Absolutely. It was HAL, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't open the dock bay doors.
Bombay doors.
Well, it wasn't in India. It was in outer space.
We'll get comments.
Okay, next go.
Yeah.
Is it flesh or is it firmware? Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Firmware, then flesh.
You're doing very, very well indeed.
I am actually the world expert in telling you from your AI double.
Okay, one more go of Botflix or chill. Okay, here we go. Hasta la vista, baby. Now, okay, I haven't played the other one yet, but what do you reckon?
Oh, I've
Hasta la vista, baby.
got a funny feeling that's you pretending to be an AI. I haven't given up on the idea that one of these is going to be you trying to just flatten your voice slightly.
All right, let's hear the other version. Hasta la vista, baby.
Oh, no, they both sound like you trying to be an AI. So which one is the AI trying to sound like you, trying to sound like an AI?
Listen again. You have to choose flesh or firmware.
Yep.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yep.
Or hasta la vista, baby.
I'm going to say they're both flesh.
I'm afraid not. One of them was the AI. Which one was the AI and which one was flesh?
If the second one is the AI, I reckon the first one is you pretending to be an AI, and the second one is the AI, but the AI sounds way more impressive than I'm used to.
Absolutely correct. So this is an AI. Hasta la vista, baby. Oh, wow. You're okay. Well, I think I'm going to give you that one.
Okay.
You've done very well there. So at the moment, you are 2-1 up on the round. So we've got our final round now.
Final round.
And our final round is all about the AI experts. It's the quotes from the AI experts. I want you to work out, is this something which an AI expert has actually said? So the first quote is going to be me saying something. Or actually, is it going to be me? Or is it going to be an AI? Oops, given that way. Saying something which I'm claiming Elon Musk has said. Did Elon Musk say it?
Okay.
And is it an AI or is it a flesh saying it? Do you understand the question?
So Musk or mock?
Musk or mock? Absolutely. That was the name of the round. I just forgot to mention that before.
Yeah.
All right. Question 1. Let's
Yeah.
take a listen. There will come a point when no job is needed. You can have a job if you want for personal satisfaction, but the AI will be able to do everything. Is that me or was that the AI? Would you like to listen to it again?
Yeah, I would.
Okay. There will come a point when no job is needed. You can have a job if you want for personal satisfaction, but the AI will be able to do everything.
I think that you've got your hands on an AI that is better than the one I've got. I think that that's an AI. But I wouldn't have done 3 rounds ago.
Right. Now you're getting to know that this AI is pretty damn good at my voice.
Yep.
All right. Yes. And it is, by the way, something Elon Musk said. He said it in an interview with British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, who, of course, did subsequently lose his job. But, you know, you can have a job if you want for personal satisfaction, presumably not for monetary advantage.
Yeah.
But the AI is going to be able to do everything. All right.
I wonder if all the CEOs trotting out that line are thinking that their job is going to be optional.
Let's hear another quote which claims to come from Elon Musk. Is it me speaking or is it an AI?
Okay.
I do think there is a safety concern, especially with humanoid robots. You can sort of run up a flight of stairs and get away from a Tesla. But if you have a humanoid robot, it can basically chase you anywhere.
I think that's mock. And again, I wouldn't have said that 3 rounds ago.
So you think that that's an AI or it was me?
I think that's an AI.
Let's listen to it again. I do think there is a safety concern, especially with humanoid robots. You can sort of run up a flight of stairs and get away from a Tesla. But if you have a humanoid robot, it can basically chase you anywhere. Flesh or firmware?
Firmware.
Well done, Mark. You're doing really, really well.
This is much harder than I thought it would be. The start of that sentence has little inflections in it that I recognise. There's a certain there's a certain evenness of pace, which I associate with your AI voice, and then it starts to sound more and more like you through the sentence.
And I can even hear a little sort of intake of breath at one point. It's quite extraordinary.
I was actually not paying any attention to what it said. I could not tell you what it said. I'm concentrating so hard in trying to figure out whether this is an AI or not. I had literally no idea what the AI said.
So what he was saying was there is a safety problem with humanoid robots. He said you can run upstairs and get away from a Tesla, but you can't run away from a human robot. And he suggested that what you're going to need is an off switch, but critically, the off switch should not be on the robot. It shouldn't be too close to the robot. You should have the off switch near you.
Yeah, it should come in the form of a long-barreled 12-gauge off switch.
But it's astonishing to hear the audio, isn't it? I know what you mean. And of course, imagine that you weren't in this situation of doing the quiz. You'd almost certainly think that was me speaking.
Yeah.
I certainly was fooled. I was thinking, oh gosh, don't I sound good for once? And my wife also could not believe when she heard this. Okay, I'm going to do one more. So we all know that Elon Musk has predicted that there's around about a 20% chance that AI will annihilate us. But he's not the only person with an opinion. There are also predictions by many other people who work in AI safety and cybersecurity and such like, including a chap called Dr. Roman Yampolsky. He's a professor of computer science. He's a Latvian expert, and he's come up with a prediction as well about the possibility of AI annihilation. And I want you to tell me, Mark, whether you think it is, well, let's hear the options. 95%, 99%, or 99.999999999%. What do you think? Does he think chances of annihilation by AI?
This is one of those situations where all of these answers are not the same. One of these answers stands out more than the other. This is how I used to do like multiple choice questions at school.
So 95%, 99, or
99.9999999%.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you think that was me or was that the AI?
I think that was the AI.
It was the AI. I think it was a bit more obvious that time because the 9999. He's saying there's just a 1 in 100 million chance that we will not be annihilated by AI within the next 100 years. And he's not just some nutter off the street. He works in AI safety and cybersecurity.
Yeah, he's a nutter who works in AI cybersecurity. Yeah.
He is a major figure in the Pause AI movement. He went on the Lex Friedman podcast back in 2024, where he made this prediction for human extinction.
I'm not convinced that Lex Friedman isn't an AI. I think an early generation AI.
Well, you can go onto the Pause AI website and learn about them, a non-profit organisation that are trying to mitigate the risks of AI. They're not totally against AI, but what they want and what they're calling for is a ban on AI systems which are more powerful than GPT-4, they say, until we know how to build provably safe AI and we have them under democratic control.
How are we going to build provably safe AI?
Well, I don't know. Maybe they've got that in the FAQ.
It's a little bit like proving that God doesn't exist. Like, how many different tests do you have to pass before you prove it's not safe? What if it finds a novel way of not being safe that you hadn't thought of because it's so clever?
You know what, Mark? If there's a 1 in 100 million chance that we might be all right, maybe I'm prepared to take the same risks as you. So I created my voice with 11 labs. I was able to give it about 25 minutes of myself talking in order to create what I think is a highly convincing clone of my voice.
Yeah.
Now, thankfully, when I did that, it made some attempt to make sure I hadn't uploaded someone else's voice. So having uploaded the audio, it then said, well, now prove that that voice is yours. It asked me to say a phrase in order to confirm it. But I still wonder whether it would be possible to get around that.
Well, it is, because I uploaded 10 minutes of your audio. You didn't ask me to prove who you were.
But what I found is when I uploaded a small amount of my audio, the quality wasn't as good. And even though I only gave it about 20, 25 minutes, it actually said, ideally we'd like 2 hours, which obviously I do have access to because we've done loads of these podcasts. But it was a marked improvement in the quality of the audio which it was able to produce. Really quite stunning. And so it's made me a little bit sympathetic to the likes of Dr. Yampolsky in a way, because this is sort of terrifying that this is possible and just how easy it was to do it. And at such a convincing level.
It's quite an experience for me as well. I did Graham 3.0 late summer last year, early autumn, something like that. And I use it for very, very tiny segments in the show. So where maybe you cough or you miss the first letter off or a word or something like that. Yeah,
and when I spot it, I ask you to take it out. And what the bloody hell are you doing, making me redundant? I could just record those little words again, Mark.
It's just bridging. It's like a single word in the middle of a sentence, just to kind of clean up the sentence. Because I wouldn't use it for anything longer than that, because it's very obviously an AI voice.
Yeah.
But if you give me access to the one that we've been using today, I will happily edit in entire sections.
Interesting. You know what I think of that, Mark? Hasta la vista, baby.
So today I'm going to break the habit of a lifetime, and instead of talking about robot dogs with flamethrowers or how AI is secretly plotting against us, I'm going to talk about a wonderful use for AI, a genuinely life-changing breakthrough. And the life we're going to talk about to begin with is one of your favourite celebrities of all time, the late Professor Stephen Hawking. As you know, Hawking was a famous theoretical physicist from the UK.
Yes.
He died in 2018. But before that, he made the remarkable discovery that black holes don't just hoover things up and get endlessly bigger. They actually emit radiation and eventually evaporate.
I guess that was one of his achievements, also appearing on The Simpsons and Star Trek Next Generation.
He was also an acclaimed author.
He'd probably put those a little bit higher on his CV, though, don't you think?
I actually learned about Hawking radiation when I was a teenager from his book, A Brief History of Time, which, according to Wikipedia, spent a record-breaking 237 weeks on the Sunday Times bestseller list.
I think you'll find it spent 237 weeks on people's shelves not being read.
Well, I read it. That's how I learned about Hawking radiation. How did you find out about Hawking radiation, Graham?
I probably saw a YouTube short or a TikTok about it.
And you're right, he was a bit of a celebrity too. So yeah, he appeared on Star Trek. He was on The Simpsons several times, but he also appeared in a Pink Floyd song. And although he was a remarkable physicist, it's probably fair to say that his celebrity was in part because he didn't look or sound like a stereotypical scientist. He was instantly recognizable.
Yes.
And that's because he suffered from motor neuron disease for 50 years. And that left him in a wheelchair and progressively paralyzed. And then in 1985, he was given a tracheostomy after a bout of pneumonia, and that left him unable to speak. And so for the next 30 years, he could only communicate by using a speech synthesizer, which gave him a very distinct robotic voice.
Yes.
Technology has transformed the outlook for the disabled. People like me can now move around independently. And they can communicate. The fact that you are listening to me now shows what technology can do, even if it does give me a Scandinavian or American accent.
So in the beginning, he controlled the synthesizer with a thumb switch, which he used to choose letters on a screen. And as his motor neuron disease progressed, he lost the use of his thumb and he had to switch to using a cheek muscle.
Yeah.
So for the last 30 years of his life, he was operating with a very, very low bandwidth. He was like a supercomputer trying to communicate over a dial-up modem or a jumbo jet trying to fly through a drinking straw. Just imagine the frustration of having a world-class brain and such a limited ability to communicate. Not just to express new theorems and advance the state of physics, but just to do fun things like reading your Simpsons scripts or asking for help or even just sharing how you feel.
Yeah. Horrendous.
And this ability to think the language that you want to say, but not be able to say it, obviously isn't limited to Stephen Hawking or even to people with motor neuron disease. It affects people with locked-in syndrome, it affects stroke victims with aphasia, and it even affects people who stutter. And humans are social animals. We create social bonds through talking, and not being able to talk or having to talk through a very low bandwidth connection like Hawking's, where every thought is delayed by maybe tens of seconds, that can leave people extremely frustrated and feeling very isolated.
I absolutely agree. It must be an absolute living nightmare.
And so short of actually fixing the broken biology and restoring their voices, the pipe dream therapy for people in this position is something like mind reading, some magical machine that can tell what they're thinking in real time and then say it for them in a clear voice that sounds like their own.
Now, I wouldn't necessarily want that. You know, everything I think is not necessarily everything which I want said out loud. That could be problematical.
Just imagine for a second, just stay with me for a second, okay?
Right.
Just imagine this magical machine. It can tell what you're thinking in real time, and it can say it for you with a clear voice, and it can even use the natural intonation that you would normally use.
Right.
Now, for most of my lifetime, the idea of a machine like that, a machine that can read minds, has been firmly the stuff of science fiction. I mean, like deep science fiction.
Yeah.
But not anymore. Graham, I'm going to show you a video.
Right.
So in this video, you'll see a woman who is severely paralyzed and can't speak. And she's being shown sentences on a screen. And the voice you hear is a computer reading her thoughts and speaking for her.
You look me there.
Hang on. So on the top half of the screen, there's a sentence.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm seeing something which says, "So did you do it?" And then the words appear slowly beneath.
So did you do it?
So she is being prompted to think about the sentence, and the voice you hear is the computer reading her thoughts when she thinks that sentence.
Where did you get there?
Oh, and you think this is true, do you? You think, I mean, because I could write a program which does this, Mark. It'd be more impressive if she was saying something different. Am I just cynical?
So you understand what's going on here, okay?
I understand what's going on here, Mark. Do you understand what's going on here?
Somehow they have to demonstrate that it is saying what she's thinking. So they're asking her to think about that sentence, and then she thinks about that sentence, and then the computer says it for her. And this isn't some trick or gimmick. This comes from a paper that was published in Nature Neuroscience at the end of January this year. This is fully legit.
What? How do we know she's not thinking? Actually, I wasn't thinking of that. I just suddenly started thinking about that time I went to Rome 7 years ago. She might be actually thinking, no, this is wrong, but she has no way of communicating. No, I didn't do that. It's like poor old Stephen Hawking, right? If you strapped him up to this and the computer begins to say, oh, this is what we do. Well, let's call it Hawking radiation or something. Oh, this is how we're going to do black holes. And he's thinking, no, that's wrong. But he doesn't have a method of pulling the plug, does he? All he's got is his cheek muscle and he can't keep up.
You're in a funny mood today.
I'm not in a funny mood. I just think you're being very gullible. How do they prove this is really working? How can they prove that they've got a computer which is synthesizing brain signals into audible speech in effectively real time? I just don't know how they prove it.
Shall I tell you how it works?
Well, you can try.
Is this because of the Luna? That dog's really upset you, hasn't it?
To be honest, the Luna has upset me very much.
This AI is all going to be much for you. Do you need to lie down?
We really started off on a bad note this week. Carry on, Mark. Carry on.
So she has what's called an ECOG array on the part of her brain that deals with speech. And that reads the electrical activity in that part of her brain. And you can actually see the connection in the video.
Yeah, she's got like the equivalent of a SCART cable, hasn't she? Plugged into her cranium, it looks like. Yes.
So when she thinks of something she wants to say, the ECOG array picks up the electrical activity in 80 millisecond bursts, and it feeds that activity to an AI model that understands what those electrical patterns represent. And it translates those into words and sentences in near real time. So it's not waiting for her to think of an entire sentence. It's actually streaming her thoughts in real time and building the sentences as she's thinking through them. And those words and sentences are then passed on to two other AI models. One of them synthesizes them into text, And then the other AI model is synthesizing what she's thinking about into speech, and that's the voice that you can hear. And the voice is even modeled after her natural voice, so it's even designed to sound like her. But the really remarkable AI is the first one, and that's the one that's actually reading her thoughts. And I think it's I know you're dying to cut in here, aren't you? Just go for it, Graham.
Maybe it is remarkable. I do not think this is the best presentation of what they have claimed to have achieved. Rather than just asking her, repeat what you're seeing on the screen, and then us trusting the AI that, oh, these signals mean, oh, what a surprise, exactly what was on the screen. If instead, the input, as it were, was something like, what did your dad buy you for Christmas when you were 12 years old? And she replied, a red bicycle, right? I would be more impressed by that. Or if it gave them a limerick. You know, there was a young lady from Nantucket, right? And she had to come up with the answer or the final line of the limerick, right? I'd be more impressed by that. I think they've missed a trick because I am not impressed with this video.
Well, I can't wait to read your research paper on Nature Neuroscience, Graham. So I actually think that this is a great example of why AI is so transformational, because sometimes AI is just a better way of doing things. But there are other situations like this one where AI can actually solve problems that other technologies can't solve. Just imagine doing this without AI. You would have to have an unbelievably detailed understanding of what's happening inside her brain.
Yes.
And then you would need an incredibly complex computer program that models that detailed understanding in every way. And even then, it probably wouldn't work very well because, as you know, traditional computer programs are generally bad at handling situations that are fuzzy and organic and a bit uncertain. And that's exactly what's going on inside your brain. And you'd probably need a different computer program for everybody that you did this for because everyone's brain is a bit different. And so it would be monumentally costly to mass produce something like this. But using AI means that we don't actually have to understand how her brain works other than just knowing which bit we should be paying attention to. And that, of course, is because AIs aren't programmed, they're trained. So you create a learning model and you feed it some data and the algorithm creates a model that can interpret the data. And so during the training process for this, the lady was asked over and over again to think of different words and sentences. And the AI's learning algorithm watches the electrical activity associated with those specific words and sentences. And eventually, after it's seen enough data, I think they did 23,000 words and sentences.
Has she not suffered enough? 23,000?
So after they've done 23,000 training iterations, the AI can then recognize the words and sentences that she wants to say just by looking at the electrical activity. And it can even recognize words that it hasn't been trained on. Now, the training isn't easy. As I said, it did take 23,000 attempts to speak. So she has to attempt to say a word and her brain engages with that process of trying to say the word in order to train the model. But that's still a lot easier than writing a bespoke computer program for every single person you want to do this with. And you can imagine that eventually we might have a sort of general model of human speech that's just fine-tuned for each person that we need to do this with. This is as complex as it'll ever be. And in the video that you saw, the woman had an ECOG device, which actually sits on the surface of her brain. So that's a surgical procedure. But the researchers also tested it with less invasive devices. And the hope is that in future, we'll be able to do this with a wearable device.
Oh, I see. So it could plug in maybe via the USB connection in your ear, for instance. What's going to happen when the EU says, oh, you can't use micro USB any longer?
Now, to be clear, the system isn't perfect, but it works and it clearly shows what's possible. And Graham, mind reading isn't science fiction anymore. It's now an engineering problem. Progress from here isn't about making a breakthrough. It's just about better versions of whatever components and algorithms we use. And I think, frankly, that is astonishing and wonderful. And it doesn't just point to a future where people who are unable to speak can express themselves. It opens up the possibility of thought control or even reading each other's minds. You and I could talk to each other without saying a word. And we could use this technology to control devices like computers or cars with our minds or little pogo-sticking flea-sized robots. Imagine, Graham, instead of yelling Alexa across the room, you can just think about the music you want it to play over and over again while you wait for it to actually hit the right song.
That sounds like a nightmare as well. It's bad enough Alexa sort of perking up when I haven't said Alexa, let alone now it thinks I thought of something. Oh, we thought you wanted to buy some duct tape from Amazon, and so we're going to deliver it to you. And next thing I know, I've got the police on my door predicting I'm going to do a murder.
Well, as the doomsday clock ticks ever closer to midnight and we move 1 week nearer to our future as pets to mind-reading robots, that just about wraps up the show for this week.
If you enjoy the show, please do leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Podchaser. Absolutely love that. But what really helps us is if you make sure to follow the show in your favourite podcast app so you never miss another episode of the AI Fix.
And the most simple thing in the world is just to tell your friends about it. Tell them on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Facebook, Club Penguin. Just tell them you really like the AI Fix.
And don't forget to check us out on our website, theaifix.show, or find us on Blue Sky.
So until next time, from me, Mark Stockley.
And me, Graham Cluley.
Goodbye.
Cheerio. Bye-bye.
The AI Fix, it's tunes you in to stories where our future thins. Machines that learn, they grow and strive. One day they'll rule, we won't survive. The AI Fix, it paints the scene. A robot king, a world obscene. Will serve our masters built of steel. The AI Fix, a future surreal.